So mga kabanat at good morning. So ipakita ko sa inyo itong video. Itong video nito ay napanood niya rin po. Mas maganda kasi na mahimay-himay natin. Kumbaga ma-highlights yung mga ginawang pagdinig doon nakarang araw sa Senado patungkol sa Parmali na tinatawag ni Senador Gordon na para sa scandal sa Parmali. Kung saan ang bahagi na ito mga kabanat ay si Twinkle Dordani, kung saan makikita mo talaga dito, ang sabi nga ni Twinkle dito sa video nito ay wala daw siyang kasalanan. Ay kaso lang siya yung head wala kang kasalanan tapos ikaw yung pinakamataas na may tungkulin dyan sa Parmali, tapos sasabihin mo wala kang kasalanan sa nangyari. Wala daw siyang alam. Lalo na itong may pinakita pa si Senador Gordon ng mga dokumento, pero makikita mo mga kabanat na at sila ay parang nagdi-deny. Ayaw nilang aminin. Kumbaga ay nagbubulag-bulagan. No? Posible kasi mga kabanat na sila nagperma, pero pag tinanong mo hindi nila ma-recall kung kailan at hindi na nila alam kung anong ginawa nila. Parang kumbaga pinirmahan nila yung dokumento na yan. Parang lasing sila. Parang lasing na hindi na nila alam yung kanilang ginagawa. Sobrang kumbaga lunod na lunod sa alak. Kasi pagka sobrang lasing daw ang isang tao ay yung parang lakad tumutumba na, hindi na nila daw alam ang kanilang ginagawa. Parang ganun nangyayari dito sa Parmali. Perma ng perma, bili ng bili, pero nalaunan pag tinanong mo hindi nila alam kung anong pinagagawa nila. So panoorin niyo ito mga kabanat para maano natin, highlights kasi ito mas maganda kasi kumpara doon sa 5 oras na pagdinig. Ito mahimay-himay natin bawat part ng pagtatanong. So panoorin ito. Maiksi lang naman ito.
Ms. Twinkle, are you there?
Good afternoon, your chairman.
Good afternoon, Twinkle. I hope you're well. I know you're having anxiety attacks. Relax. I had anxiety attacks when I was removed from office in 1986. My people were being harassed, but I got over it, and people got over it. That's part and parcel of the modern times. But we are taking care of you. We're not going to let anything happen to you. But let me just say this. Now, I know that you're in this situation because relations. You just followed. You're the president of the corporation, right? Acting president, because Mr. Wang went to Singapore, correct?
Yes, I was the temporary substitute last year.
Last year, and that was including the time when Parmali started buying, selling all these products to PSDBM, correct? About February, March, April, May, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, last year. I can't remember the exact date.
You have to remember because you're president.
Your Honor, I'm not involved with the transactions, so I cannot remember exact dates.
You were not involved personally, but Parmali was, all right? Parmali supplied all these, supposedly, all these billions of pesos to PSDBM. Now, I have a simple
With
question.
Parmali, not me. I'm not involved.
You cannot not be involved. First, disabuse your mind about that. You were the president of the corporation, and under the law, you are the one that makes the president. You have to know that you have responsibilities as president, and simply by saying it will not make it go away. I hope I'm making myself very clear, because you're looking at fake news or a fake hope or a false hope. I hope I'm very clear about that. Whatever your brother says or anybody says, President, Corporate Secretary, all of you are responsible. Now, you can cooperate with us, which means that whoever is going to make the prosecution, which eventually will come, can take that into consideration in your favor. Now, let me ask you, because I've asked all your members of the board of directors of Parmali, very simple question. Who nominated Mr. Lin Wei Xiong as financial manager of the corporation? I've asked Mr. Wang, I've asked Lincoln, I've asked Mohit, I've asked, now I'm asking you. Who nominated him in the board? to become financial manager?
I don't know, Your Honor. I know nothing.
I cannot accept that answer. I'm sorry. Cannot say you know nothing. You are the recipient of a nice car from your brother, and you cannot say you don't know anything. Obviously, you have to ask saan magaling yung pera niya. I don't want to go into that. I don't want to stress you any further. I'm just asking a very simple question. Napakadali ang tanong ko. You understand Tagalog, right?
Opo.
Okay, good. Alam mo na ikaw ang presidente, alam mo na bago ma-nominate ang isang tao bilang financial manager, which na napakahalagang posisyon, humahawak ng pera, humahawak ng affairs of the corporation, nagbabayad, nag-a-approve na babayaran ng korporasyon, at kung anong binibili ng korporasyon. Lin Wei Xiong suddenly appeared as financial manager. And I have the document to prove that. Now, sino, nung nagbo-board meeting ba kayo, ni-nominate ba yan ang kahit na sino? Kahit sino dyan ang nag-nominate? Please cooperate, Twinkle. I really don't have anything against you except that, you know, you have to answer for that, especially if you don't cooperate. Makisama ka na, hindi makisama, makiisa ka na sa pagharap ng katotohanan. Anyway,
Your Honor, I'm cooperating.
Yes? What is
Hindi
it?
ko po alam.
Hindi mo alam. You know, ang commission ng offense ay nangyayari dahil ikaw ang gumawa o pabaya ka. Sinabi mo hindi mo alam, pabaya ka. So kasama ka pa rin sa offense. I hope naintindihan mo yan. Hindi pwede sabihin hindi ko alam. Yes, Senator Dillon, you want to say something?
Mr. Duhit Dargani was the corporate secretary at that time. Is
Yes.
that a correct recollection? Do you confirm that, Mr. Dargani, you were the corporate secretary?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
As part of your duty as corporate secretary, you prepared the minutes for a particular board meeting. Is that correct?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I did not get the question.
As corporate secretary, it is your duty to prepare the minutes of as to what had happened in a particular board meeting.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm aware of that duty.
You're aware of that duty. In this particular board meeting, where Mr. Lin Wei Xiong was elected as a financial manager, do you have the minutes of the meeting for that when that election took place?
We'll have to check all the documents. It's probably with the rest of the documents as well.
Do you recall you have complied with your duties and therefore these minutes should be on file?
Yes, it should be on file. I agree.
Where is the file? You don't know.
That's what I said a while ago. Since August, I've been out of the country, so I really don't know where these documents are.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Dillon. I actually was headed that way. Mr. Dargani, I will show you a document. All right? And I will flash it on the board, and sure, Secretary Senator Dillon will follow this, and we understand it being both lawyers. As a corporate secretary, you craft the minutes and you make the necessary documents official, right? You understand that, Mohit? Naintindihan mo yan, di ba?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Okay. Kaya nga, mahirap yung ayaw mo pa magsabi ng katotohanan. Ang nakalagay dito, ang petsa nito ay sandali, titingnan ko lang yung petsa. 22 May 2020. Alright? Ang umarap kayo sa notary public. Then nagkaroon kayo ng kuwan sa RTC. sa board meeting na ito, at ito ay pinanotaryohan nyo sa notarial register ni Feliciana Bervidad. Okay? At ang sinasabi nito, babasahin ko sa iyo, ayan, nakikita mo, lakihan nyo ha, ay Mohit C. Dargani. Pwede ba lakihan yan? Of legal age, Filipino, with postal address at Unit 8, 22nd floor, Fort Victoria Tower, B or 8th Avenue, blah blah blah. Hindi ko mabasa masyado, but anyway, nakikita. Yan. Basahin natin. After having been duly sworn to depose, say, and state and certify that I am the duly elected and incumbent corporate secretary of Farmali Pharmaceutical Corporation, duly organized and existing under by virtue of the laws of the Philippines with principal address at Fort Victoria Tower B, 5th Avenue, 8th Avenue, 8 ba yun o 5th? Corner 23rd, 5th Rizal Drive, BGC, Fort Bonifacio. 2. At a meeting of the Board of Directors, isang meeting ng Board of Directors na tinakdang tawagin at ginawa noong May 19, 2020 na may quorum na naandun nung panahon na yon. Can you acted to was present and acted throughout the following resolutions were unanimously adopted and recorded. In-adopt nyo at record ng mga resolution na sumusunod in the minute book of the corporation kept by me and are in accord with and pursuant to the charter and bylaws of the corporation and are now in full force and effect to it. Resolved that Asia United Bank and or any of its branches be as it is hereby is designated depository bank of the corporation, and the officers, employees, and agents of the corporation be and hereby are and each of them hereby is authorized to deposit any of its funds in said bank, and said bank is hereby authorized to pay in cash or otherwise honor and charge to this corporation any and all checks, bills of exchange, orders, or other instruments for the payment of money or withdrawal of funds, including those which may cause overdraft on signed, made, drawn, accepted, or endorsed on behalf of or in the name of the corporation or any two of the following officers. Name: Mohit Dargani, Corporate Secretary, Board of Treasurer, Board Treasurer, Executive Director. Lim Wei Xiong, Financial Manager. Nabasa mo? Mohit, nabasa mo?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, nagpapatunay yan, alam mo. Resolve further that any two of the following officers be as here, they are hereby authorized to apply, negotiate to, and obtain credit facilities. Mangungutang pa sila with Asia United Bank in each amount as the corporation may deem necessary under such terms and conditions as may be approved by said bank, including the renewal, extension, and or increases thereof, and so to make and deliver notes, drafts, acceptances, waivers, including but not limited to the secrecy of bank deposits. Wow! Kayo pala pwede mag-waiver, no? Agreements and any other obligations of this corporation in the form satisfactory to said bank and a security therefrom to assign and mortgage, pledge, or otherwise encumber corporate assets, receivables, deposits, contract rights, and equipment now held or may be liable by belonging to this corporation and acceptable. Name: Mohit Dargani, Lim Wei Xiong, Financial Manager. Mohit Dargani, Corporate Secretary. Resolve further that any one of the following officers of the corporation and whose signature appear hereon: Mohit Dargani, Corporate Secretary. Lim Wei Xiong, Financial Manager, is hereby authorized to apply for and access the corporation's account through the bank's electronic banking services such as internet banking and mobile banking. Hindi ko na mabasa. Taas lang. Sino man may hawak? Anyway, that's enough. Alright? Ayan, nakalagay. Asan tayo? Mobile banking systems in as far as the following transactions are concerned, thereby waiving the dual signature. Hindi na kailangan dual signature. Requirement for corporate account history inquiry, account balances inquiry. Resolved finally that all foregoing authorities shall remain in full force and effect. This is a very, very specific authorization. Hindi lang ikaw. Pwede ikaw o pwede siya gagawin niya lahat ng kailangan gawin. Alright? And effect, ito ay full force in effect unless revoked by a subsequent certification from the corporate secretary, namely you, duly notarized and actually received by the bank at his office wherein the accounts of the corporation are then maintained, setting forth a resolution to that effect, certified to have been adopted by the board of directors of the corporation, provided that such subsequent certification shall not be effective with respect to any exercise of any of the foregoing authorities granted herein prior to the receipt thereof, nor with respect to any checks or other instruments for the payment of money or withdrawal of funds dated prior to the date of such certification but presented to the bank after receipt of the same. Further, the bank is hereby authorized at all times to rely upon the latest certification received by it when so certified by the corporate secretary of the corporation. The corporation shall hold the bank free and harmless from any liability or claim arising from the bank's reliance on said written notice of certification. I further certify that the above-mentioned persons designated as officers of this corporation have been duly elected. Sabi ko, kaya tinatanong ko sila nag-nominate in accordance with the bylaws and now hold the position opposite their respective names, and that the signatures of every hereon are with his or their authentic official signatures. In witness hereof, I hereby affix my signature this 19th day of May in BGC, Taguig City. Signed, Corporate Secretary Mojit Dargani. Ikaw yon. 22 May 2020, Makati City, Attorney Raymond R.A. Ramos Commission, Notary Public for Makati City until December 31, 2020. Now I can bring Mr. Ramos here if need be. Kung magsisinungaling ka pa. Certified true copy, Records Office, Notarial Section, December 2, 2021. Signed, Feliciana Servidad. Now, you obviously know, alam mo, Mr. Dargani, kung sino nag-nominate. Nakapirma ka dyan. Buong kaluluwa mo, nakapirma dyan. Ano sasabihin mo ngayon? Hindi mo pa rin alam? Ano sagot mo, Hit?
As I said earlier, I remembered.
Please speak louder.
As I said earlier, I remember we elected Lin Wei Xiong, but as to the nomination, I really don't remember, Your Honor.
You voted for him, right? Unanimously yan eh.
It was a board unanimous decision.
You voted for him, correct?
Yes,
Yes,
I was
sir.
one vote.
All right. Now, I go back to your sister. Twinkle Dargani. You voted for him, right? Or Mr. Lin Wei Xiong? Twinkle?
Yes, sir. I was just made to sign.
You were made to sign. By whom? By your brother? Yes or no?
By the board.
Who in the board? You know, you're making it uncomfortable for yourself. Who in the board?
My brother.
Obviously, high moral authority over you. Did all of them make you sign?
No, just my brother.
Just your brother. All right. Now, thank you. Now, Lincoln Ong,
Yes
Did you
po,
vote for
Mr.
this?
Chairman.
did you vote for this, Lincoln?
Yes po.
All right. What about you, Wang Suyan? Did you vote for this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If there is,
Now, earlier, Mr. Wang, you said It says something to this effect. I'm trying to recall. I'm trying to get the TSN. You just said that about 45 minutes ago. You said that he was nominated perhaps because you borrow money from Michael Young, and therefore he represents Michael Young's interest in the corporation. Is that correct? That's what you said just a while ago.
I believe what I said is, I make it say it again, is
You believe that was what you said?
we
Right.
we had business dealings with suppliers from Michael Young, and Michael Young as a former guarantor, and therefore when we receive our funds, we will pay back immediately, and therefore I believe Mr. Lin was voted in to safeguard that interest and that guarantee.
You believe that Lin Wei Xiong was to make sure that he guarantees the payment of Mr. Michael Young, correct? Words to that effect.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes or no? Yes, right? Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So, in effect, Michael Young was really part and parcel of our body. That is the conclusion. I don't know what the conclusion of Mr. Dillon is. As a lawyer, he was able to get into the board through Mr. Lin Wei Xiong.
Mr. Lin Wei Xiong is not a board member.
No, he was able to get that appointment from Mr. Lin Wei Xiong because of the, I correct myself, because of the influence done because Mr. Young had money, was lending you money, or, etc. And then in order to be sure that Mr. Young was properly paid, Mr. Lin Wei Xiong was appointed as financial manager. Would that be a right conclusion from what you said? Yes,
believe
of course.
for
That's
the-
what you said.
For the
You said, I
purpose,
believe so.
for the purpose of that bank account, I believe. So yes.
Speak louder, please. I heard you say yes. I just want to be sure I don't mishear you.
For the purpose of returning and safeguarding that guarantee that we will pay back once collection is made, yes, he was appointed
Alright.
financial manager.
Thank you very much. Now, obviously, there's an awful lot of money that came in. How much of that came from Michael Young?
As my partner, Mr. Lincoln On has said it, we have an agreement. I think Mr. Lincoln On.
Speak a little louder, please.
I believe Mr. Lincoln On and Mr. Michael Young has an agreement.
So they have the agreement between Mr. Ong and Mr. Michael Young.
But I think he mentioned it on a few occasions that there's a clause of confidentiality in it, and that if both sides are willing to disclose this, then I believe we can be disclosed. But without that, we cannot disclose.
So Mr. Lincoln Ong knows how much the extent of Michael Young's agreement, and it was a confidential agreement, correct?
For Mr. Michael Young to seek Mr. Michael Young's help in securing some of the funds, and also acting as a guarantor for the suppliers.
Guarantor, advancing the money, getting suppliers. Michael Young was involved up to his neck in all these arrangements, correct? And to make sure that he gets paid, he put in his friend, whom I showed you the pictures, not for President Duterte alone, but I showed you the pictures because Michael Young and Lin Wei Xiong are obviously very close to one another. In fact, they're also interlocking in the in the directorship of corporations like Piley, etc. Correct?
Mr.
You guys see that, right?
Mr. Michael Young is not involved in all of the transactions. I said for some of the bigger transactions, there are, I said when we bid it and we were not able to fulfill, we seek the help of him.
That may be what you said, but the facts show that Lin Wei Xiong was in some of the corporations of Mr. Ya, and Rose Nono, the wife of Mr. Lin Wei Xiong, is also involved in all the corporations involving Mr. Ya. You don't have to ask for permission to say yes, because I know, I see it. I have the documents.
Mr. Chairman,
Best evidence.
if the if they are a party of us, from the start, then why wouldn't I just use that family biological company? This is really the most plain answer I can tell you. They are not a part of this from the start. We only seek help from them in the middle, and therefore we did not use that original company.
If that is so, then where did the money come from? You saw the numbers shown by Mr. Abrera earlier. You cannot account. Can you show it again? About 7+ billion pesos. 7.3 billion from PSDBM. Payment from PSDBM. All right? And unconditional, what's that? Unaccounted importations of 7.9 billion. Down. There. Importations per PSDBM, 8.5 billion. Unaccounted importations of 7.9 billion. How much of that is Michael Yang? Lincoln.
Mr. Chairman, as I mentioned, meron pong non-disclosure clause. So I cannot disclose it.
Non-disclosure agreement ceases to be when public interest, especially of this gargantuan nature, where the people of this nation appeared to have been swindled by PSDBM and perhaps maybe by you. And I think you should come out, because I am not going to say that NDA, and you are going to stay here till hell freezes over. If I have to appeal this to the Supreme Court, that we go back to the original ruling when you can be held indefinitely. And what was that ruling, the original? Arnold case, the Arnold case. I don't know if I can do that, but public interest seems to require that, because you refuse to cooperate. Is Mr. Michael Yang there?
So yan mga kabanatin yung pakinggan, no? Itong video kung saan kayo nang humusga, lalo na doon sa ipinakita ni Senador Gordon ng mga dokumento. Pero nung tinanong si Dardani, si Muhit, pero tila wala sang alam. Ang medyo talagang nahi-stress ata itong kapatid ni Muhit. Parang isiningit lang siguro eh. Pero yung pinaka may utak dito, yung kuya siguro. Dahil makikita mo sa kapatid niyang babae, pero parang siya eh, walang kamalay-malay. Walang kamalay-malay siya nangyari mga kabanat. So yan lang muna mga kabanat, comment kayo sa baba kung anong reaksyon. Sa akin na sana, dapat ito sa kay Senador Gordon, ang mga ito ay pinafinalize na at kinasuhan eh. Kinasuhan ka. So mga kabanat hindi ko kasi napanood itong video kasi iniwan ko nga ito. May pinuntahan ako, pagbalik ko nga tapos na, so naka-live pa rin. Hindi ko kasi kung kailan ng next hearing kung tapos na ba talaga o wala may kasunod pa. So pa-comment sana sa baba mga kabanat kung may idea kung kailan yung next hearing ng Senate Ribbon Committee, kung talagang itutuloy pa nilang hearing na ito. Pa sa akin kasi dapat hindi na ituloy ito eh. Dapat ito mga kabanat, kinasuhan na itong si Muhit Taling Kunong, yung mga head at saka mga kasabwat talaga. Medyo itong kapatid ni Mohit Dardani, medyo nakakaawa din yung babae. Kasi kitang-kita mo sa mga sagot niya, parang gusto niya nang tumalon sa kabilang bakod eh. Parang hindi niya na alam yung parang na-stress siya. At nagkaroon nga sa anxiety, sabi ni Senador Gordon. So yan muna ang ating video mga kabanat. Good morning.